السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, today we are continuing from where we stopped in the last lesson. In chapter number 6 here, he's talking, we call it the Babu al-Marfu'at al-Asma'a. Babu al-Marfu'at al-Asma'a. You are looking at nouns that are marfu. So he begins by saying that al-marfu'at sab'atun wa hiya al-fa'il wal-maf'ul allati lam yusamma fa'iluhu wal-mubtada wal-khabar wasmu kana wa akhawatiha wa khabaru inna wa akhawatiha wattabi'u lil-marfu'. Okay. Now, there are 7 things here that are always marfu, and we need to know them. If it seems you are not clear with what we mean by marfu'at, just take your time. When we look at the examples, it will become clear. Marfu'at, in simplicity, there are some certain conditions. If a noun finds itself in it, it must be marfu. That's what we mean by, that's what this particular chapter is talking about. Conditions in which a noun, if a noun should find itself in that condition, it should be marfu. I hope that is clear. That's what this chapter is about. So he mentions 7 conditions. The first one is a fa'il, meaning that if a noun finds itself in a position of a fa'il, then it must be marfu. I hope that is clear. So that is what we mean by the marfu'at. Okay. Example. Let's look at this example. Qama Muhammadun. So here, who is the doer? Muhammad is the doer, that's the fa'il. The fa'il means the doer of an action, that's the doer, that's the fa'il. So Qama Muhammad, Muhammad stood up. So Muhammad is the doer. You can see, so Muhammad has to be what? Marfu. It has to be marfu. So da'iman al-fa'il fil jumla, da'iman marfu. The fa'il in the sentence is always marfu. Oh, that is clear. Then the next one, Na'ibul fa'il. The next one he mentioned is Na'ibul fa'il, and that's what he meant by al-maf'ul allazi lam yusamma fa'iluhu. We call it the Na'ibul fa'il. Okay. What we mean by Na'ibul fa'il is in English, I said Muhammad was beaten. So Muhammad here in this sentence is the na'ibul fa'il. In a sentence, okay, where you use a majhul verb, when you say majhul, it means the verb is, the doer is not known. If I say the apple was eaten, it's a kind of, we don't know the doer. I hope that is clear. So in this particular verb, the verb you are using here, the apple was eaten, no name is mentioned. It was just eaten. The doer is not known. So in this particular sentence, the thing that is being affected by the verb is called a na'ibul fa'il. I hope that is clear. So if I say Muhammad was beaten, there is no doer, just that he is the recipient of the verb. So the recipient of the verb is what we term as the na'ibul fa'il. So here, duriba Zaidun. Zaid was beaten. So who's the recipient? Even always the doer is not going to be known, because that's what we call majhul in Arabic. Majhul. Okay, majhul means unknown. Okay, so the thing is not known. So duriba Muhammadun, the doer is not known, but the recipient is known. The recipient is called Zaid, and Zaid in this particular condition is always going to be marfu. Okay, so duriba Zaidun. Zaid is marfu because it is a na'ibul fa'il. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Then the next one, Muhammad, he said mubtada. Al-mubtada, when a noun is mubtada in a sentence, la budda an yakuna marfu. It has to be marfu. Example, Muhammadun talibun. Muhammad is a talib. So who is the mubtada? What's the mubtada here? Muhammad. The mubtada is the subject. The subject in a nominal sentence. So Muhammad is the mubtada, and it is always going to be marfu. Mubtada is always marfu. The next one, the khabar. The khabar in a jumla ismiya is always going to be marfu also. So Muhammadun talibun, in this particular sentence, Muhammadun talibun, who is the doer? What's the khabar? The khabar is the predicate. Okay. So Muhammadun talibun, you can see clearly that talibun is the khabar. Muhammad is a student. So student is the informator, is what gives information about the subject. So that's the khabar, and it is always marfu. The next one he mentioned, kana wa akhawatuha. It's not necessarily kana wa akhawatuha. It's actually ismu kana, as he has mentioned here. Ismu, you can see it was kana, the ism of kana. Now we all know that kana can have kana and the inna. They have ismu and then khabar. So we have ismu kana and then khabar kana. The same way we have ismu inna wa khabar inna. I hope that is correct. Now when we talk about kana will have inna ism and a khabar. So the ism is actually what the kana is, the subject in that sentence. That is in which the kana is being. Then the khabar is always going to be marfu. Khabar is marfu and then the ism is marfu. The khabar is mansub and then the ism is marfu. So kana Allahu. So Allah here is the ism and it is marfu. And the khabar is always mansub. So kana Allahu ghafura. I hope that is clear. So the ism of kana, you can see it is always going to be marfu. Kana Allahu. Okay. Kana Allahu. Kana. If you just mention kana and you are going to mention it now, it is always going to be marfu. Okay, the ism of the kana is always going to be marfu. That's what he also mentioned. And the next one, inna wa akhawatuha. Inna wa akhawatuha. And not only kana. Okay, he says kana and then his sisters. Okay, kana and his sisters. And we all know this. Kana, the sisters of kana. Okay, Amsal, okay, Zolla, okay, Bata, Laysa, Madama, Mazala, all this, they are from the ism, what can. Now, inna, he says that the khabaru inna is always going to be marfu. It's always going to be marfu. And we all know that inna allaha laqawiyyun aziz. Inna allaha, after inna, mostly the noun that is coming just immediately after the inna, it's always going to be mansub, as far as it is the ism of the inna. So inna allaha, you will never hear inna allahu. You will never hear that. Okay. So inna allaha, then you mention the khabar. Lakawiyyun aziz. Inna allaha ghafurur rahim. Inna allaha alimun hakim. So the information, indeed Allah is something so and so. So indeed Allah, the thing that is taking the emphasis is the ism, and it is always marfu. It is always mansub. Then now what follows it, the information you are now coming to mention, is what is always marfu. The kawiyun, so you can see kawiyun here is marfu as well as aziz, because they are the khabar of inna. And inna also have its sisters. Okay, inna, anna, lakinnaka, anna, laita, and then Allah. All these are from there. Then he also mentioned tabi'un li marfu'in. Tabi'un li marfu'in. And he mentioned what tabi'un li marfu' wa huwa arba'atu ashiya. And there are 4 things. An-na'at, wal-atf, wal-tawkid, wal-badal. What does it mean? Observe. Let's explain. Tabi'un li marfu'. It means that if a noun is marfu' and something is following it in these 4 conditions, it's also going to be marfu'. Example, na'at. If a noun is marfu', is adjective, then na'at, when we say na'at, it means sifa, adjective. Is adjective is also going to be marfu'. So if I say ja'a ar-rajulu, the man came. But if I want to say the tall man, As far as you can see here, ja ar-rajulu. Ar-rajulu here is having Dhamma on the last letter, meaning it is marfu. So the adjective that is coming to describe it should also be marfu. So ja ar-rajulu tawilu. I hope that is clear. You can say ja ar-rajulu at-tawila or at-tawili. It's not correct. If it is marfu, the adjective should also be marfu. So you can say rajulun tawilun, rajulun jamilun, rajulun ganiyun, rajulun fakirun. But you can say rajulun fakiran, rajulun tawilan. It doesn't match. The noun and its adjective must have the same Arab. I hope that is clear. The second one, al-atf. Al-atf. When an atf, we all know a harf al-atf, that is a conjunction. Example is wa. And so if a conjunction is holding two nouns together, they must have the same Arab. Okay, they must have the same Arab. I hope that is clear. We call them ma'tuf alay and then the ma'tuf. The ma'tuf alay is the first one, and then the ma'tuf is the second one. So, example, indi I have kitabun wa qalamun. So you can say indi kitabun wa qalamin. It's not correct. Or you can say indi kitabun wa qalaman. It's not correct. As far as the kitab is ending with dhammatain, dhamma in a state of marfu, in a state of raf, the same way the conjunction, the thing that the conjunction is holding, the second part of the conjunction should also be having the same Arab. It should also be having dhamma. So kitabun wa qalamun. I hope that is clear. Then the next one, tawkid. When there is an emphasis, okay, emphasis. So tawkid can have several forms. The simplest form is what I've just put here. So you see, Ja'a Muhammadun nafsuhu. Muhammad came himself. The man, no one brought him. Ja'a Muhammadun nafsuhu. So Muhammadun, you can see, is marfu. So if a tawkid, an emphasis is coming, of course, if I say Muhammad came himself, that part, the part of the sentence himself, is an emphasis. I hope that is clear. It is signifying that he came himself. It's an emphasis. It's just emphasizing the fact that he did it himself. Or if you say كتب الولد الامتحان بنفسه, the child wrote the exams by himself. It is signifying that it's not that someone helped him. So it's an emphasis. So this type of emphasis, when it comes, the thing it is emphasizing, it must have the same Arab as it. So Ja'a Muhammadun nafsuhu. Muhammad came himself. I hope that is clear. Then the second one, Ja'a Sayyidu. The second one, the last one is Al-Badal. Al-Badal. Al-Badal is the substitute. Is the what? Is the substitute. Okay, so example, if I say Ja'a Sayyidu Hussein, Hussein al-Tabib. Ja'a Sayyidu Hussein al-Tabib. Mr. Hussein came. Okay, Mr. Hussein the doctor. Mr. Hussein the doctor. You can see the doctor is still the same. Is part of the. Is still talking about Mr. Hussein. So it is badal. It is a substitute. I could have just said Ja'a Tabib. The doctor came here. But if I say Ja'a Mr. Hussein the doctor came here. So it can be substituted. It's a substitute, meaning that if I remove one of them, the sentence still makes meaning. I hope that is clear. So in that case, the noun and then is badal is also going to have the same Arab. If it is marfu, it must be marfu. And that's what sheikhs talk about in this particular bab. And that's the end of the chapter 6 also. Nouns al-marfu'at al-asma. That is the end for this chapter.